Mr. Jack in New York. The suspect in the Mr. Jack murder cases has fled London and he's bound for Manhattan. Alerted by London, the New York Police Department are on the lookout for the suspect. The police call upon the help of some of Manhattan's finest citizens to apprehend Mr. Jack. The goal, if you're the detectives, apprehend Mr. Jack. If you're playing Mr. Jack, it's to escape Manhattan or last until the end of the 8th round with no apprehension. Cost, I picked this up for $70 Australian, and after the original Mr. Jack getting a lot of play, I was confident New York would live up to its predecessor. Players 2, and approximate time you're looking around 30 minutes, and that's what's written on the box, and it's been quite accurate for us. If you're wondering how Mr. Jack in New York is played, or what the character's abilities are, please check out part 1 of our review, which will give you an animated gameplay overview. So, what did we think of the game?
Hi and welcome to another review. We're here at Spear Point, just outside of Newcastle, and we've been playing Mr. Jack in New York today, and I'm here with my best mate Duff. And if you've seen the original review of Mr. Jack that I've done, I mentioned that there was a friend of mine who saw the potential of Mr. Jack before I did, and this is that friend.
G'day.
We've been playing a few games today, Duff, with Mr. Jack included and Mr. Jack in New York.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this game? What about the components? Tell me what you think about the components in this game.
Love the components. There is high quality as the original.
Yep.
The board, the map, it's all great stuff.
Yeah.
The counters were all pretty much the same as the original as well.
Yep.
All the other little tokens and stuff like that, which there are a lot more of.
Yeah, definitely.
I reckon they're great. Fantastic quality.
The other thing, the reason we're outside today, basically you can enjoy this game outside because the components, as you can see, are quite thick and heavy, so the wind doesn't get in the way. And where we've been playing, it's been quite windy today. It's been quite good. Did you enjoy the games we played today, Duff?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so did I.
I reckon it was one of the best games I've played.
Yep, definitely.
Mr. Jack the original was it's got to be my best game.
Yeah.
And this one's not too far behind it.
No, it's definitely not. We've gotten quite a lot of games out of both now, and they just play so well with two.
Fantastic.
Which is great, yeah. Gameplay, what was your favourite mechanic or element that's been introduced in New York that you thought sort of contributed to the theme?
There's a few things actually. It would have to be all the counters that get placed on the board. Each character will have certain abilities. A few of those characters can place tokens on the board, which will change the map around quite a fair bit.
Yeah.
I like that quite a lot.
Yeah, that system, my next question is replay, but I think that helps with replay value because the map, while your characters will start off like the original in the same spot, the map changes. So it helps create a different game every time you play it, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Duff, I've got a killer question for you. Mr. Jack the original, will it still get played, or does this supersede its predecessor?
Look, I reckon it would still get played.
So do
I couldn't put it on my shelf to collect dust, no way in the world.
Nah,
I've got to say the same with Mr. Jack in New York though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, superseding it though, I don't know, it's hard to say. The original's great, the theme's good. Can't really beat the originals these days, can you?
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to play each other. They're different enough to know that you're playing two different games. It's not...
Yeah, well that's just the thing. I mean, like if you want to get this Mr. Jack in New York, you don't have to have the original game.
No,
so
they're two separate games. They're two standalone games, and they're both very good ones at that.
Yes.
Your favourite character in the game and why?
It's got to be this little boy, Cloud Rider.
Yeah.
The reason why is he is a super mover. He's the only character in the game that will allow you to move more than 3 spaces. He has the ability to run through buildings at no cost to movement.
And that's no cost to movement, so he can actually move sort of, if you set up the board in a certain way, he can move quite a number of squares a turn. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, me too. Cloud Rider was probably my favourite and definitely was used a lot.
Yeah.
Duff, I have to ask you, this is probably on everyone's mind, but what beer would you recommend with this game?
Oh God, there's so many choices.
Has to be an Australian beer, come on.
Well, my favourites out there, you know, like I'll have a VB or 2 with this thing.
No, thank you.
Well, see, that's
We'll
the thing.
stick with Tui's or something,
Oh,
I think. I think we'll go, mine would be a pure blonde for such a game, I reckon.
I don't know. I'll stick with VB, or maybe even a bit of imported.
Yeah, you could go some
beer.
imported. There's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Duff, for joining us today,
Not a problem.
and see you later.
I'll just mention that the rulebook is well written and quite clear. I would consider Mr. Jack in New York quite an easy game to learn. There is also a nice Q&A section which will answer most queries that will pop up in the game. It's also worth mentioning I had a question about park tiles, whether the vision was both ways. Example, a player in the park tile, could he witness a player outside a park tile? And I found that this question had already been submitted in the rules forum on Board Game Geek. It also happened to be answered by one of the designers, Bruno Cathala, which is great to know that they're actively supporting the game. And I apologise for my pronunciation of the designer's name if it's wrong. Okay, there are 3 questions that I would ask if I was thinking of getting New York. First would be, would it be a worthwhile pickup if I have the original? I think if you were a fan of the original, I doubt very much you'd be disappointed in this title. It's a totally different experience. The only things that really remain in common are a few of the core mechanics and the core theme. Other than that, there's very little else they share. The map is vastly different, characters' abilities are quite different, and there's some very innovative elements introduced in this version, so I would definitely recommend this to a fan of the original. Another question that I would ask would be, what edition would I recommend to a newcomer to the Mr. Jack series? The rulebook in New York recommends the original for newcomers. My opinion is that one would not be so much better than the other ones for players to begin with. There is a bit more to the game in New York, but I don't think it's by any means going to be a huge learning curve. The only reason I'd recommend the first to begin with would be theme-wise. It just makes sense if you have the London one that he escapes to New York. But anyway, third question, would players that were not a fan of the original edition enjoy this one? Okay, now this is obviously very dependent on the individual. I would recommend that you at least try it if you get given the opportunity. And I would recommend that those who thought the original version of Mr. Jack favouring the detective side was the issue preventing you from enjoying the game, that you definitely give Mr. Jack in New York a stab. No pun intended, but it seems to be a very balanced game. Of the games we played, it was pretty much 50-50, and it was great. So Mr. Jack in New York, it's going to stay in my collection. Definitely it's welcome alongside my other games and welcome alongside the original Mr. Jack as well.